Hi everybody, Lord Mame here with No One Left Behind Part 3, the Insanity Walkthrough for Mass Effect 2. This is usually the part of the mission that gives people difficulty when they're trying to get their entire squad out alive, because of the way the defensive line is calculated based on who's left behind. Stage 3, Hold the Line, uses this calculation to determine who lives or dies, so I'm going to pull it apart for you to show you how it works. Each crew member has a numeric value used to represent their effectiveness on the line. Loyal crew members receive a bonus to this value. To ensure that there are no fatalities on the defensive line, the average of all defenders' values must be equal to or greater than 2. Grunt, Garrus, and Zaid are each worth 3 points, or 4 points if loyal. They are the most effective defenders you have. Next comes Jacob, Legion, Miranda, Thane, and Samara or Morinth, each one of which is worth 1 point, or 2 points if loyal. Finally, of least value on the defensive line is Jack, Kasumi, Mordin, or Tali, each of which is worth 0 points, or 1 point if they are loyal. This is why I had suggested in Stage 2 when selecting an escort to go back to the ship with the crew that you select from Jack, Kasumi, Mordin, or Tali, because they are of very little use on the defensive line and will bring your average down. Obviously, on the opposite end of that, of most value, are Grunt, Garrus, and Zaid, each of which is worth at least twice as much as any other defender you have. It's important to keep this equation in mind when selecting the squad members to go into the final battle. By selecting members that have a low defensive value, it will maximize the combat effectiveness of all the remaining defenders on the line. For example, in my game I sent back Mordin as an escort. For my squad I selected Miranda and Jack. Miranda because of combat effectiveness, Jack because she had a low defensive value. Even though they would be useful in the final boss fight, I've purposely not selected Grunt, Garrus, or Zaid in order to maintain their high defensive value on the line and raise the overall average of the defenders. So how does the math work out? Grunt, Garrus, and Zaid are each worth 4 points, for a total of 12 points. Jacob, Legion, Thane, and Samara or Morinth are each worth 2 points, for a total of 8. And finally, Kasumi and Tali are each worth 1 point, for a total of 2. Therefore, the total defensive value is 22 points, or an average value of 2.4, which is more than enough to ensure that there are no fatalities on the defensive line. This is of course assuming that all squad members are loyal. If one or more of them are not loyal, this can have a dramatic effect on the possibility of deaths occurring on the defensive line. Disloyal crew members taken into the final boss fight in your squad will die. Disloyal crew members can be left on the defensive line safely as long as your average defense value is equal to or greater than 2. So while you'll want to have as many loyal squad members as possible, 1 or 2 disloyal squad members won't automatically disqualify you from getting the No One Left Behind trophy. Work out the math, figure out the best way to go about maintaining your squad, and you should be fine with 1 or 2 disloyal squad members. This last leg of the mission is a series of quick encounters on floating platforms before the final boss. They're actually quite a bit simpler than the previous floating platform section that you had in the Collector's ship, primarily because there's a lot more distance, and in a lot of cases you have the height advantage on the Collectors. You won't see a Harbinger right away in the first couple of platforms, but the platforms will be one right after another, so there's plenty to keep your attention while you're making your way to the last battle. Try to stay back with your sniper. There's really no need to charge onto the enemy platforms unless you're looking for ammunition. But your ammunition should have been filled up at the beginning of this mission in any case, so you shouldn't be running low. Stay behind cover. Try to snipe as many drones as possible before they actually link up with your platform. If you can get one dead or at least worn down, it'll make your life easier. At this point, this battle should be basically second nature to you. And you'll notice that in a lot of the platforms they do have these tall covers that you can hide behind to cheat the corner. That'll especially help on the wave after this one, where you have to deal with Scions. For the most part, the construction of the platforms eliminates the danger of a Harbinger charging at you. You can usually maintain his attention on the opposite side of the barrier you happen to be hiding behind. So, once again, your primary objective is to take out the drones as quickly as possible, and then eliminate the Harbinger last. That becomes possible again by virtue of the amount of space that you have between you. You don't really have the urgent need to attack it first. Try not to revive your squad too early in this section if they go down. They should respawn before the final battle in any case. Unless you're really getting overrun, there's no need to. Then again, depending on what your class is, you may find the final battle extremely easy as well by comparison to some of the other encounters you've had over the course of the game. So you may not need the additional medkits. Adjust your strategy accordingly. As I mentioned in previous videos, you can dodge the Harbinger's blast that knocks you back by weaving from side to side. By weaving in one direction, it causes the blast to track your position, and then weave in the opposite direction. It can't counterbalance, and it ends up overcompensating and going right around you. Again, because of the architecture of the platforms, the abominations don't really pose much of a threat to you. They can't really get to you in time to do any damage before you kill them. Just stay back and continue to chew them up from afar. Also, if you have biotics to knock them off the edge of the platforms, that'll make it even simpler. For the final two Scions, you can move right up to the edge of their platform and use the double tall cover there to cheat the corner and just unload continuous fire on them. They won't be able to see you, so they won't be able to hit you, and even if they did hit you, or fire at you, the blast would actually deflect off of the cover itself. So just line up, empty your clip, and wait for the end of this section. Plus it smells like potpourri now, that's awesome. Look, it's like full of dried lilacs and bark and whatever else is in potpourri. I don't know, granola, whatever. Anyway, once the two Scions are down, trigger the switch on the platform, and that'll take you to the final boss fight with the Reaper. The object is to attack the 4 injection tubes that are suspending it from the ceiling. The blast shields come down to cover them while the Harbingers and the Collector drones attack. Once you kill the 3 drones on the platform, or the 2 in the Harbinger, as is more likely, you'll be able to attack the 4 glass tubes that are holding up the Reaper. And each time you have roughly 5 or 10 seconds, and then they'll close up again, and you'll get another platform full of Collectors. If you're really fast, you can kill multiple tubes. If you have Adrenaline Rush, you can kill all 4 in one go, limiting the number of Collectors that you'll actually have to deal with. What you want to do, though, is with the regularity of the platforms, is to try and maintain terrain advantage by getting up onto a higher platform if possible, and staying behind cover. From this position, for example, you're able to attack the Collectors even if they're behind cover and take care of them quickly enough. And it also puts you in a perfect position that when the tubes open up, you can kill all 4 of them in one go as a soldier. You'll almost didn't make that 4th one. You'll have a brief cinematic involving some plot with the Elusive Man and Miranda, if you brought her with you, of course. And then you'll be into the final fight, because nothing's ever that easy. The final battle is actually a lot easier than you might think it would be. I had the cane, I used it in the beginning, and I'm not sure if I got a glancing blow or it just doesn't do that much damage, but it only did about maybe 20-25% of the damage to the Reaper. But in reality, even though there are collectors that do swarm onto your platform between attacks of the Reaper, realistically all you have to do is stay behind the cover on the platform that you start on and continuously shoot at the Reaper. The collectors will generally swarm up in front of the Reaper, or between you and it, and your squad will immediately start to attack them and draw their attention. They usually don't draw very close to you at all, and every second or third time the Reaper will pop up and blast the entirety of the platform with a very large area of effect energy blast that will actually kill or knock off any collectors that are in the area. So in reality, it's doing a lot of the work for you. Just continuously shoot at the eyes or at the glowing section on its chest, or the weak points. If you're a soldier, use Adrenaline Rush to line up more accurately while the Reaper is flailing around back and forth. In reality, it doesn't seem to make a difference which weapons you're using on the Reaper. A sniper rifle versus an assault rifle seem to do just as much damage with each hit, and it seems to limit the number of times that you can actually hit each weak spot. So it really just seems to be whatever you can spray as much fire on it as possible with. The Reaper's spine/tail thing will also smash some of the surrounding platforms, so it's in your best interest if the Reaper's tail spine thing is hanging above your platform to get the hell out of the way. Otherwise, you'll be knocked down into the abyss below and instantly die. Well, maybe not instantly. You'll fall for a while, but point being, death. Staying behind this tall piece of cover will protect you from the Reaper's blast, so really the only thing you have to worry about is maintaining your aim at its eyes and laying on the fire. And eventually, you'll kick its ass, and of course it'll collapse. You'll have to escape the base. Depending on if you have enough crew members left, Shepard will survive. If you have more than 2 crew, he'll survive. But following this walkthrough, you should have saved all your crew in order to get the No One Left Behind trophy. Over the course of the next few cinematics, you'll not only get the No One Left Behind trophy, you'll also receive your Insanity trophy, assuming you've gone from beginning to end on Insanity. You'll also get the Mission Accomplished trophy and the Long Service Medal trophy as well, if this is your second playthrough, or if this is your first after using the Mass Effect Genesis comic. All that's left now is to sit back, watch the suitably epic cinematic, and begin the long wait for Mass Effect 3. Well, that was the third part of No One Left Behind, the final Insanity walkthrough for Mass Effect 2. I'm Lord Mame, and once again, thanks for watching.